I have actually done a half marathon, but that's it. And
I'm making Snickers now.
I'll tell you what, I had so many peak experiences, and I was just horrified when I got to the harbour, and it was when Nigel Waterson was empty, and somebody had nicked the last wine gut, the jelly babies. I couldn't believe it. I'd actually got that far, and somebody picked the jelly babies. There was none left. You know, what was going to take me the last 2 miles of that journey. Anyway, enough of that. So I want to just talk to you about the passion I've got about people as opposed to companies. So let me take you on holiday. So I was walking along the beach. I had my shades on, and there was this famous beach called Sandy Lane. And the famous hotel over there, and you've got the pink towers where all the stars are. But Gary Lineker, who's one of the stars who visits Sandy Lane Hotel, wasn't there, nor was Rihanna. And I was really disappointed, so I took my shades off. But somebody was there I wasn't expecting. He said, "Hi, welcome to Barbados." I thought, "What's that? Can't believe it. Welcome, you're new here. How long have you been here?" Also, well, we arrived last night. I thought so, I didn't recognise you. Listen, it's a really nice place, but it's 5 in the evening. You've got your skin bare. Believe me, you'll get burnt. Be really careful. And one more thing. He's our man. If you walk under those leaves over there, if those leaves fall on your skin, the sap is acidic. And so you could ruin your holiday because the blisters you'll get from the sap are really painful. So he was your typical beach hawker. And he hadn't tried to sell us anything. And then Nadine goes and lets me down. And she said, "What are you trying to sell?" I said, "Nadine, you never ask a salesman what are you trying to sell. Don't invite them to try and sell you something." So he says, "Madam, I don't sell anything. People buy pineapples from me." Oh, that's clever, I like that. And then Adrienne says, "So what's your name?" "Well, my name is Original." Still rolling his eyes. "I am the original pineapple man from Barbados." Anyway, we went up, we decided, parted company, hadn't tried to sell us anything, let alone his pineapples. Next day, we get this call. "Hi, how's your holiday going? Did I warn you about those leaves?" I said, "Yes, you did." So he's talking about it, he said, "Well, that's great, just enjoy your holiday." And then our other lady, Elaine, says, "How much do these pineapples cost?" I said, "Never ask somebody how much their pineapples cost. Stop giving them all these buying signals." So he said, $200. I suddenly, $200? What, American dollars? Yeah. So what, they gold? He says, "They're golden, they're delicious, they're an experience, they're a work of art. You wait till you try it." I wasn't interested in trying a pineapple, let alone buying a pineapple, or let alone for $200. So we parted company, and I thought, this guy is interesting, we're going to bump into him, and I wonder what I'm going to learn for business. Because I spend my time going around working with businesses, helping them to be different, helping them to stand out from the crowd, helping them to make more money. Now it's people like this. If he can get away with charging $200 on the beach, what am I going to learn that I can be able to share with businesses? Because I find that big businesses have lost the will. They've lost the will to understand about individuality. My favourite bête noire is British Airways. I love the cabin crew in British Airways. They're fantastic. But here's an example. It's not a very good picture, but this was outside Terminal 3. So British Airways to fly to serve. And their system went down. And I knew what was going to happen, so they said, "Take your luggage and take it to this compound." So I take it to this compound outside because the luggage luggage belt wasn't working. So I go along and I said, "Where is the bit where we're piling the cases for Phoenix?" And the lady says, "I think it's that pile." I said, "No, you don't think it's any pile. You either know, because that pile I think is Tokyo, and I don't want my case going to Tokyo." So she said, "No, I think this is Phoenix." So sure enough, so I put it to Phoenix, and I was saying to everybody, just make sure you put it in the right pile. But it was just this poor little lady who was there all on her own. And so over the Atlantic, I get a tap on the shoulder from one of these lovely cabin crew gents, and he said, Mr. Ogilvie, I've got some bad news for you. I said, I know exactly what you're going to tell me. He said, what is that? I said, well, my case isn't on the plane. How the hell did you know that? And I said, because of the incompetence back at Heathrow. So what I realised then is, we've had several examples of it. British Airways don't care. This guy says, I'm sorry, we have really cocked up. And I said, I've been preparing myself, don't worry, just get me another glass of wine, I was self-medicating there. I love that term, self-medicating. Anyway, I started self-medicating, and it saw me through, and they got vouchers, and I got some really nice clothes at the other end to compensate for it. They certainly had to pay for the experience. So, and I had previous experience with them where we went to Buenos Aires, and it was a 14-hour flight, so I booked the seat with more space. And so I thought, I want to stretch out on a 14-hour flight. So I go in there, and I get there 3.5 hours early. And they said to me, got a problem. If they take, see the case through, give us a thing. They said, we can't give you your seat. So what do you mean? I've already booked it. Yeah, but we can't give you a ticket to go through because the plane is being changed. And I said, well, hang on. Is it being changed for exactly the same model plane? Exactly the same, sir. I said, well, that means you'll be able to give me exactly the same seat that I've already paid for. I can't guarantee that, sir. What you're going to have to do is go to the bar and just keep watching. And when you suddenly see that we're letting people through, come to us and let's give you a seat. So I'm having to go to a coffee and just check, keep looking, and then I suddenly saw people going. So I came back over a period of about 4 hours, and then I came along, and sure enough, by the time I get there, and I was pretty quick, there must have been only about 15, 20 people had gone through. My seats had been given away. So I was furious. I said, I've paid for this in advance. Exactly the reason. I was here early. I know, sir. You'll have to complain. No, they will give you your money back. I said, that's the wrong answer. I said, maybe they will upgrade me. That would be a better answer. But this guy didn't care. He just said, I'm doing my job. And this is the problem, because what I find is big companies, the leaders don't care. And what they do, unless you've got somebody who's exceptional, the people don't care as well. This guy didn't care. So I went to customer service, as I was told to. We're here to help. There was nobody there. So I asked and I rang the bell. There was nobody there, and they didn't care either. And that's the trouble. British Airways don't care. The only way you can get British Airways to care, and I'm talking about those lovely crew on the plane, is to put something on Twitter. And suddenly they care within a matter of about 30 seconds. It's incredible, social media, how it works. Eurostar is just as bad. So Eurostar, you go to their lovely terminals where there's no room to sit, whether it's in Gardenhall, whether it's in St Pancras, and you go to customer service, there's one person trying to deal with it. It's awful. It's absolutely incredible. Ryanair came up with a lovely thing. O'Leary said, I can't believe it, some people are prepared to pay extra to choose where they want to sit. So people are paying extra, going on EasyJet rather than going Ryanair. He said, I thought people only wanted to buy the cheapest possible thing. So he's had to give people choice because people are prepared to pay for it. He's had to learn a lesson. So Ryanair is actually now no longer a miserable experience to fly with, because he's had to learn. So he's still trying to give it cheap, but he's trying to give them a service because he's having to listen to the people. Banks. We've got a bank here, Russ, so I can't go on too much. But it's not. I call them the foot soldiers. I love our local bank managers. That's not the problem. It's those faceless wonders at head office in what they call credit committee in the dark rooms who they can't do. So I just looked in the press this weekend. We've got the Barclays Bank directors being allegedly done for fraud. No, allegedly they committed fraud. That's the word. Lloyds Bank have admitted that the people in Bank of Scotland did commit fraud as they sorted out small companies and let them loose, and they've actually finally agreed, having denied it for ages. It wasn't Lloyds Bank did anything wrong, but when they took over Bank of Scotland, they pretended that there was nothing wrong with what they'd achieved, what they'd done, but they were actually letting companies go bust. RBS were deliberately letting companies go bust in their special situations. And then I just had an experience with Harrigan Mortgages, where they've deliberately sold a property which had gone into arrears with a previous partner of mine. I brought it up as soon as I was told. I put it back into it. It had been running perfectly well for a year, and they've sold it without my permission. And of course, the small print says we're entitled to do so. I said that's not. It's morally wrong. It's morally corrupt. So they sold it at undervalue, and now they said, "Can you pay us the difference?" I said, "You have nicked a property of mine. You've sold it at undervalue, and now you want me to actually pay you for nicking it from me. I'll see you in court." So we're having a bit of fun. We cannot trust these bastards. That is the problem. And it's not the foot soldiers, it's these leaders who don't care. And the trouble is, these officers who work for them, they end up being as bad because the leaders don't care. Europcar has just owned up to committing fraud, encouraging its people to oversell us, to actually find dents when you get your car back. So they've actually admitted they're corrupt. In the paper this weekend. Absolutely incredible. So when I go into businesses, I say, if you want people to talk about you, give them something to talk about. I've just given you an example of lots of things we can talk about, negative. But what I try and do is champion the small people. How can we find the small people and that we can talk about? So I've created a little Facebook page called Be Mad, Not Sad. Be magnificent and dazzling, not satisfactory and dull like so many other people are. And every time I find somebody that is mad, not sad, I talk about them. Here is Eva in Henry's at Piccadilly. So if you go to Green Park, you see Eva working at Henry's. Now, Eva was amazing. She's a lady from Poland, and we were talking about her family, my family and I, we'd been for a meal, and we were all sitting around, a group of about 10 of us, and Eva came up and said, "I'm really jealous of you." So what are you jealous of? She says, "I love my family, and I love red wine. You've got Malbec, and it's one of my favourite red wines." And she came back, she said, "I've just checked, we've only got 2 bottles of Malbec left. I've put them aside for you, I know you won't let me down." And we didn't. But I just love the fact off our own back. Now that wasn't a script, that was off our own back. Fazli, I got to go to speak in Macedonia, in Skopje. Fazli, I was there about 4 months earlier. So 4 months later, I come along, go down to breakfast. This guy's a waiter, says, "Welcome back. Would you like your usual coffee and omelette?" Wow. Would you like your usual coffee and omelette? I said, "How did you know that?" "I remember, that's what you had last time." That's incredible. So I go and put it on Facebook. Next morning, he said to me, "What did you do?" "I've had 3 job offers since yesterday." And so I go and make it a habit. Just the other day, when we had the terrorist incident in London, Nadine and I were up and we were staying at the Crown Plaza. So a big national chain, international chain, but Frederick was the person in charge. I was there, we were being entertained at the Dorchester. So I got all my glad rags and I'd forgotten my cufflinks. So I go down to the reception and say, "Any chance you can sell me some cufflinks? So I don't want to buy them at the Dorchester." And they said, "No, but we'll ask Frederick. Frederick will know where you can get some." It was 7 o'clock in the evening and Frederick said, "No, I'm sorry, there's only one thing for it. I'll be off duty in an hour," and starts taking off his cufflinks and hands them to me. And he said, "Just wear these." So I had my Union Jack cufflinks as I went off to the Dorchester. I brought them back and gave them to him. And so I put him on Be Mad, Not Sad. It was like the world went ballistic. People couldn't believe that we were talking about this. And the Crown Plaza were not used to people celebrating, people being their own team being celebrated on something like this. So what I'm trying to do is urge you to look at opportunities that where you can celebrate people just doing these small things, because the big companies that surround us everywhere we go, in every town we go to, we've got all these national chains and they're so sad, so satisfactory and dull. Whereas we want them to be magnificent and dazzling, to be able to look after us. I want to be like this man, Original, because he kept bumping into us, and in the end he says, "Mike, tell me when you're going to be ready to try the experience." I said, "Original, I'm going to be probably playing golf for the next 2 days. Tell you what," he said, "shall we say 3 days time, I'll find you in the hotel next door." So, okay, what, 10 o'clock? Fine. So we go off, have breakfast and everything, and so 3 days later, he finds us. He gets out his pineapple, gets out a knife with a flourish, gets out a freezer bag, holds the pineapple with the spiky bits and starts peeling it like an apple. And he starts singing, he says, pineapples are great for your chest and they help you to digest. Really naff poetry. You can see him on Facebook, you see him on YouTube, he's got his own YouTube channel, it's incredible. So he starts peeling it and eventually he cuts it through, cuts out the notches, cuts it into 6 slots. People are gathering around watching us and everybody applauds as we sit down. And suddenly I thought, I've forgotten something. What did I forget?
$200.
I'd said I'd try the experience. I forgot to ask him what price. So I sat down and I thought, how do I handle this? I said, original, that was brilliant. How much do I owe you? Mike. I've come to think of you as a friend. Let's call it 100. Original, I've come to think of you as a friend. Let's call it 20. I knew I had a 20, and I put over 29. He shook my hand, glint in his eyes, said, Mike, nice doing business with you. And I thought, have I been had?
Yep.
But I willingly gave him $20. He never once tried to sell me. He invited me to buy from him. But he made the whole experience of dealing with him such fun. It never even occurred to me that I was being stitched up until after. But I wasn't being stitched up. I went and found him last year. I went out again. He's still there. He's got a new uniform. And he's even got a pineapple man from the Middlesbrough chairman who goes to Sandy Lane. And I said to him, does anybody pay you $200? He said, yeah. I said, what, Americans? Yeah. I said, the British? Oh no man, you're far too tight. The whole experience is so fantastic. I go around the world telling everybody about the Pineapple Man. A little man like this on a beach who's probably borrowed the pineapple from somebody's garden for all I know and is selling it for $200 or $20 or whatever he can get away with. Just imagine if people that we could celebrate on this Facebook page could be there, that think of their business, what they could do if they weren't so boring, the leaders were better and actually cared about individuals. We could have so much more exciting the world. We could actually celebrate all these people and make them feel special rather than just making them feel a pawn of something that, I think of it's like the 3 Ps. All these business owners think about process, profit, and they should think about their people, but they forget about the 3rd P. So I hope in this little rant that I've had with you, I've sort of shared and encouraged you to think about the person. And if you can find anybody, however good they are, I've got little wow cards I give to people. And I sort of say, I've got loads of stories I could share with you, how I use these wow cards to make people feel special. And I just go and put them up on the website. So if you go onto the Facebook page, Be Mad Not Sad, I want you to join my crusade against mediocrity. Be Mad Not Sad, and celebrate anybody who actually makes you feel good and you just want to recognise them. Just put it on there because I'll talk about them wherever I go in the world. Thanks very much for your participation.
So, thank you very much, Mike. That's brilliant. Actually, it's interesting. I was listening to you talking and thinking that took a trip around the States a couple of years ago, and all the chain Starbucks that you get. I mean, it's Starbucks and Costa and Nero and all those things, and they're reliable, but they're pretty poor. You've only got to go sort of 50 yards down the road, and there's a stunning Nelson's independent coffee shop right here in our town that serves the best coffee. There's Urban Ground as well that does amazing coffee. And those small businesses, those independent traders that are doing stuff that is
yeah, I mean, Andy at Urban Ground is astonishing in terms of what he does. He just cares. He's prepared to go out the way to help you. So yeah, anybody like that, we just want to celebrate them and spread the word.
Brilliant.
Anything against these chains who don't care.
Well, and Europe cars. I just back to my holiday that we're about to take to Spain. I found this little car, Seeker cars or something, on Lanzarote that are much more interactive. Does anybody have any questions for Mike and his fantastic campaign of Be Mad, Not Sad, which I have liked, and I think it should be promoted wildly because yes, sorry, Richard.
Actually, Andy's a great example. I remember when Andy used to work in the station, in the coffee shop at the station, which was part of a big chain, obviously.
Yes.
And I ordered a coffee once before getting on the train to London, and I had no change at all. I didn't really know Andy at all, and I said, "Oh, I got to 20," and he said, "Do you know what? Have it on me. Yeah, it's fine." And I think it's not about the companies; it is absolutely about the people.
It is. It's all about the people. So, I mean, let's say whether it's Frederick at the Crown Plaza, whether it's Andy in his coffee shop, it's no surprise that he's done so well in building up his business in Eastbourne, because he's got to know so many people.
So my question, because we struggled to find an office manager for our business. We were disappointed with people that we interviewed. What we started to do was started to sit in cafes and restaurants and see if we could find the person purely by the way they served us, the way they spoke to people. It didn't work. We didn't find anybody. We actually got them there. But have you ever employed somebody that you?
You heard me this morning. We had a meeting with the Bank of England, and I said I've stopped employing technicians. I don't want people with a pulse. I want people with a personality. And so the technicians, computers are going to do the technician's job. And so I'm now looking for people who other people will actually trust, will actually want to speak to, rather than some nerd who can understand computers, understand accounts, and understand figures. So yeah, we've employed loads of people and just said, why can't you just concentrate on the person, what they want, rather than just doing what you consider to be your job? So sad, as it were. So I'm having a fight all the time. So even though I talk about it, the first battle is with my own team to actually follow my principles.
So Mike, is this an empowerment thing that your crusade is big companies maybe? Because big companies exist and will always
big companies
exist.
will it. And there's loads of good people within the big companies.
Yeah. So are you saying that then the people that run the big companies need to empower their staff more?
They won't. They don't care. They're earning so much money, but it's up to us to recognise people. What I'm saying is the small people never get recognised, and there doesn't seem to be a way. So I thought, in my own little small way, maybe I can start a snowball rolling that we can recognise people, and so we can put these people on their own, so they have their moment of glory. But it's recorded. It never disappears.
Yeah. Yes, sorry, Paul.
Would you consider kind of taking it any further? Like, you know, say that's kind of roots of parenting people, which is really important. But you know, what about kind of bigger, more impactful changes? You know, if you're starting this snowball, that where idealistically could that snowball go? You know, in terms of lobbying or petitioning or things like that. You know, do you have any ideas kind of surrounding what's the next step from that?
Well, it just depends, because I mean, businesses are in for profit, but of course people like to deal with people. And so you don't deal with a bank, you deal with the bank manager, or you deal with the person behind the bar. So it's who it is that makes you feel comfortable that you want to deal with. So all I say is we have to have media, and with social media, is how do we have ways that we can recognise people and actually stand up and say, these people, so I say my wow cards, where I recognise people, just a little thing like having a wow card just makes them feel so special. And it's a silly little thing.
So it's kind of a change of attitude.
It's a total change of attitude.
A collective change of attitude, maybe.
I presented a wow card to somebody in Dixon's, and the manager said, why didn't I get one? Because I said, you didn't give me a wow experience. And the manager was furious that he didn't get one, yet one of these districts. It's silly. It's a wow card. But the manager had never received one. But the colleague, who was paid less, did receive one, and I made the colleague feel special.
Brilliant. No, it's a lone fight against global capitalism.
I want no problem with capitalism, but
yeah.
it's more a question of just saying recognising, and just if we can encourage more and more people to be recognised, and just recognise a small person who does a fantastic job.
But it's the faceless side of capitalism. That multinational sort of entity that then takes over.
Absolutely.
If we let them. Yes. Sorry.
I work for a motor trade basically, and it's an industry, let's say, and the company that I work for are trying to change their culture, and they've realised that trying to make the people that work for them happy makes their customers happy.
Yes.
And it's quite obviously target driven. I'm actually going to try and promote your idea and say this is what you need to focus on. So their target for the salesman will not be how many cars they sell, it's actually get on your website.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Mike. That was fantastic. I think we should all